Well, it's election season, and that means more candidate conversations. I'm here now with Kevin Schmelzlen. He's running for Mason County Commissioner. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for having me today.
Well, thanks for coming in and talking with me about this. First off, tell me a little bit about yourself, the position of County Commissioner, and why you decided to run.
All right. Well, Mason County Commissioner is essentially a representative of the county, kind of like we have state legislators in Olympia and U.S. representatives and senators in Washington, D.C. We have 3 representatives for Mason County working on behalf of the residents here. I have been involved in this community heavily for the last several years between my time at Mason Conservation District as Community Engagement Coordinator, an active board member at United Way of Mason County, and as leader and founder of Shelton to the Top, a grassroots movement which worked with over 250 community members. Over half of those were under the age of 25 to remove 250,000 pounds of trash from the greater Shelton area. And I had the opportunity to speak and work with people across the county in that effort as well.
One of the things that people talk about when it comes to the county commission position is that you look over and work on the budgets. And a lot of people talk about how well their home budgets are or their business budgets are, but those types of budgets are very different than how a government budget works. Tell me the differences with that, those types of budgets versus a governmental budget.
Okay. The important thing to remember for a government budget is that the government is supposed to represent the people. And there are some aspects where that makes short-term financial sense. You look at the year and you see we brought in this much money, and this much money went out. And in dealing with any sort of budget, you need to make sure that your income is greater than your expenditures. Otherwise, you're going broke. And that's something that has been very difficult in Mason County. I'd say a huge difference between the county budget and a household budget, and a business's budget, is that we have so much growth potential here in Mason County. You can't necessarily turn around and, in 3 months, get a job that's paying you $30,000 more a year. That may or may not be attainable in the short term. In Mason County, we have all sorts of opportunities to really make Mason County a destination as opposed to a drive-through county, to make this a living wage economy and make sure that we're bringing in and collecting a lot more dollars that have been neglected here, and so that we can have more money to make sure that our services for the people of Mason County are adequately funded. I feel like our income has been so low over the last really several decades. We're always just trying to cut this economic pie into deeper and deeper, or thinner and thinner slices. And we don't have that luxury to continue to do that. We need to bring more money into Mason County, increase the size of that pie so that we can fully fund all the agencies and the departments under the county and make sure that our people are receiving the services that they should be receiving, that they deserve to receive, that they've been paying to receive, without having to increase their cost burden.
You had to get out of the primaries to get into this general election, and you were representing District 3, which is the main Shelton area and a little bit outside of the Shelton area, which is, for Mason County, the only incorporated city and the main kind of tax base to the county. How will you take what you learned and heard from the folks in District 3 and then be able to balance that throughout the rest of the county?
I'm really excited to be able to bring that balance. There's a few important things to consider when thinking about Mason County in general and Shelton specifically. One is that the city of Shelton is able to collect its own tax dollars and spend its own tax dollars. For the other 5/6 of the people in our county, the decisions that are being made for them in terms of a lot of the infrastructure and investment in our county and the services, they don't have anything to do with the city of Shelton. The city of Shelton is not providing those dollars for them for those efforts. So it's important that our Mason County Board of Commissioners is equitable in using the dollars that we're bringing in to make sure that we have these resources and services available throughout the county. One big difference from the primary and running in the general election now, which is county-wide voters, is that I'm speaking with people all across the county. I was in Tahuya a couple nights ago. I'm going to be in Belfair tonight. I was in Shelton yesterday. I'm going to be in Matlock in a few days. I'm speaking with people all over Mason County, finding out their concerns, finding out what they want in their community and what they don't want in their community. And I think both of those, what you want and what you don't want, are two important things to consider. Some places, some people just want to be left alone. They're out in the woods for a reason. Other people are looking to have more economic opportunities, more recreation opportunities within 5 or 10 minutes. And I think that's important that our county commissioners understand the differences between those communities and the desires of the people that live there, and then work equitably to make that happen.
So what are some changes in policy or investments in Mason County that are necessary to broaden the employment base?
I think we need to start at the human level there. I think we need to make sure that we are setting our community members, and especially our youth, up for success by making sure that they're given the encouragement and easy access to opportunities to gain skills, experience, mentorship, and a personal and professional network. That way, when they are graduating high school, they are set up to be able to receive living wage jobs. And when we have a community full of people who are qualified to be able to work in these living wage fields, those employers are going to start flocking here, especially as we continue to make Mason County a place where more people are proud and excited to live, visit, work, and raise a family. You have a qualified, experienced workforce. Big changes will come here in terms of economic opportunity. I don't think we need to rely exclusively on, just hoping that minimum wage employers will, come here and, more. It really depends on the types of businesses, on the investment they're willing to make in our community. I'm open to all sorts of ideas, whether those are corporate chains or independent, mom and pop shops. I do want to encourage local entrepreneurship here and make sure that our youth, in addition to being set up for living wage employment opportunities, also know what it takes to be able to successfully open and run a business. That way we have a more unique and attractive Mason County that is more of a destination, because people aren't going to drive 45 minutes or an hour and a half to come to Mason County to go to a big box store that's in Olympia and Lacey and Tacoma. Mm-hmm. People want things that are unique and attractive, and that's what we're going to do here in Mason County.
What part of county government would receive more attention if you were elected?
Our leadership. I think we need, on the commission level, I think we need greater focus on the real problems here. We have lots of different departments and offices, the sheriff's office, the auditor's office, community development, public works, public safety, or public health. We have the treasurer's office, the assessor's office. I have a lot of concerns, across a lot of those areas, but it's really not having to do with the people in charge or the people working there. It has to do with the limited number of dollars that they have to work with. And so when I'm talking about making sure that we're bringing in more dollars and not having to cut that same size pie into thinner and thinner slices, I think we need that for our departments and our offices. It bothers me that we aren't able to have voter pamphlets. We don't have paper voter pamphlets this year. That's important for a lot of voters. Not everyone's online. Not everyone's seeing this online. And we need to make, so that's important. I think it's important that for democracy that we have voter pamphlets, but that's money that the auditor's office did not have. There's problems everywhere, and I think it has to do with a lack of income and therefore a lack of ability to spend the dollars on basic services.
When it comes to infrastructure or capital projects, where in the county do you see the biggest needs for work to be done?
Right off the bat, Belfair Bypass, we need to get that thing moving. I want to make sure that we have, especially our economic hubs and our social hubs, our community hubs. I'm thinking Belfair, Allen, Hoodsport, Union, downtown Shelton. I want to make sure that we are creating walkable, thriving communities. I'm talking about making Mason County a destination. People spend a lot more money when they're walking around as opposed to just driving from I need to get something here. I need to get something over there. When people are walking around, that's when they're going into the local restaurants. That's where they're going into these little, unique shops and things like that to spend money. So I really think we need to focus on creating these thriving, livable, population hubs. But I hear about the Belfair bypass so much. People throughout the county, trying to make it to Bremerton to work, at the shipyards or elsewhere where there are these living wage opportunities already available. People don't move to Mason County to sit in traffic for an hour, each way every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real problem. We need to make sure that Mason County is what people expect Mason County to be, which is an area with a beautiful natural environment, rural lifestyle opportunities, and a rural lifestyle in general. At least in most aspects, which does not include rush hour traffic like we see in North Mason.
Back to the county budget, we've seen some dramatic cuts over the years. We've talked about it a little bit. Are there any departments within county government that should be protected from cuts?
I want to protect all our offices and departments from cuts. Again, I think we have such growth potential here in terms of income. I see it as a failure on my part as county commissioner if we don't drastically start bringing in more dollars. I'm saying that right now, on the camera. I know this is going to be aired. We can bring in a lot more money than is currently bringing in. We shouldn't have to make cuts to these budgets, which are already as constrained, I think, as possible, at least for the most part. There is some controversy with certain offices, with certain departments. But overall, we're talking about nickels and dimes when we have such needs across Mason County. So I wouldn't say that there isn't a department or office that is absolutely protected. But I can tell you, I don't want to see cuts to any of our offices. I hear from a lot of people saying that, we're not able to get enough sheriff deputies out to their locations. We need a new jail. That is a priority. I really believe. I mentioned the auditor's office. I'm hearing from county employees in all sorts of offices and departments who are saying, in a lot of ways, morale is at an all-time low, in part because of all this stress from being underfunded and overworked. Things have changed a little bit. The budget issues are starting to be worked on by our current commission, which is fantastic. But these people need to feel supported. Our employees need to feel supported, need to feel empowered. And I think we have too much potential to make cuts there.
One of the proposals from a current commissioner is to move to a 2-year budget process. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd be open to discussion. I don't necessarily know if it would be better or worse. It's something that I'd have to look at and have, I think, quite a few discussions about. I see some of the benefits there. When you're on a 1-year budget cycle, you need to make sure that your income and your expenditure, that your income is greater than your expenditures for that year. When you're on a 2-year cycle, it allows you to invest a little bit more with the understanding that you're going to have that money coming in. I don't necessarily think that's the way to go, but I'm very open to the discussion of it.
Tell me about a time you mentored or coached someone.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I have twice been a Mason County Youth Baseball Association coach. So I've worked with kids 12 and under and kids 14 and under there. Actually, right now, I've been doing a lot of door knocking, obviously, in the campaign. One kid in particular, his name's Jacob. He wrote a letter to the editor of Mason County Journal for me. He's been knocking on doors with me, and he's been sending me messages. His mom's been sending me messages asking, when are you going out again? When are you going to wave signs? When are you going to knock on doors? When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? Because he's excited about, I think, the future of Mason County, the things that I'm talking about. He's seen the compassion and the attention that I bring to Mason County, and especially the futures of the youth here. And honestly, coaching baseball was one of the best experiences I've had. We did not win a single game both seasons, so do not hire me as a baseball coach. But I'll tell you, the kids here appreciate it when there's an adult who's looking out for them, who's willing to have a conversation with them, who sees that, when a kid who's normally really active and excited to be playing these sports is just kind of wandering off and, just kind of wants to be by themselves, someone who's actually willing to go and speak with that kid and give them space if they need it, but actually have a real conversation with them if they need that. And I've had a lot of those opportunities, and it's been of great value to me.
What are some of your personal values or positions that would take you look through the lens when it comes to being on the county commission? What are some of those? What are some of your values and positions? The lens you look through.
I see myself as being elected by the people of Mason County to be a leader, to make independent decisions, to do what is best for the people of Mason County and for the future of Mason County. So on one hand, I think that people are trusting the values that I come with. On the other hand, I also think it's important as a leader and as representative of Mason County that all the commissioners have taken the time to understand the people of Mason County and the different communities that are here and be receptive to their concerns. Because what I may feel about, say, boating speed limits may be very different than the opinion of people that actually live on a certain lake, let's say. It's a conversation I had just the other day, which is why I bring that up. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to be a representative of the people, and that's something I am looking to bring. I've been so heavily involved in Mason County in many different aspects that I feel like coming in, I have a good idea of what the desires of Mason County residents and communities are. But, the main thing for me is I want Mason County to be the place that I was told Mason County is when I moved up here. And I want it to be that way for everyone that's moving here or everyone that was born here or came here earlier in their life. Again, Mason County is a place that people come to, people move to, people visit because it's a beautiful natural environment. There's these rural lifestyle opportunities, and we expect a slower, I think, pace of life, a greater sense of community, and we need to protect those things. Again, Belfair bypass is important because we shouldn't have Mason County people moving to Mason County thinking that they're gonna not have to deal with traffic and then be stuck in traffic for 2 hours a day for the next however many years. So I think it's important to actually just be mindful of what the people of Mason County are saying that they want and have a real focus on making those things happen within my own framework of values, which I've been discussing, throughout the campaign.
Would you be more of a hands-on county commissioner, or would you leave it to the other elected officials and also department heads to run their departments?
Both. I have had a bad boss before. I think it's important that I will be a boss of over 300 people. There are about a little over 300 county employees directly underneath the county commissioners, working for the county commissioners, essentially. There are department heads. I want to empower those people. I want to empower the department heads. I also think it's important to have clear standards and expectations. I think that's something that we haven't really had in Mason County, and to have a clear direction for where we're looking to go. I think people are excited about my message and my vision, but I think I and the entire commission needs to set this direction, be very clear about where we're looking to go as a county, and so that everyone that's working under the commission and in the other offices as well, they feel like they're working towards something. I feel like it's important that they feel empowered and protected by their bosses, essentially. But I'll tell you, I'm going to be hands-on. I'm definitely going to be hands-on. I'm going to go into those different offices and departments and introduce myself and let them know that if they ever have questions or concerns, that they can speak with me. Because even if I'm not their direct boss, I am setting their budget. And therefore, it's important that I hear from these people. In the county as a whole, I'm planning to be hands-on. I'm planning to go into the schools. I'm planning to go to the different community clubs and service groups and things of that nature and let them know, here's what we're looking to do. And I plan to be very transparent. I feel like in everything that I've done for the community, I've been very open and honest, and I've tried to do those things often. And I intend to do be even more that way as county commissioner, because again, I'm an elected official. I'm a representative of the people. They need to hear from the people they elect.
Well, in the last minute or two, look in this camera here and talk to the voters about why they should bring you to the county commission this fall.
All right. I appreciate you considering Kevin Schmelzlen for Mason County Commissioner. I've been active in the Mason County community in many ways for the last several years. I led Shelton to the top. I saw a problem, and instead of looking around for somebody else to fix the problems, which in this instance was finding a complex of abandoned homeless camps, 2,400 pounds of trash, as we later discovered, I didn't just go to meetings and ask other people to take care of this problem and expect them to figure out all the different aspects. I made it happen by going to iFiber One News Radio, by going to Mason County Journal, by going to businesses around the community, by going directly to the people, by creating a Facebook page and discussing these issues. And within 4 days of coming across that mess, we had 30 people who came out to help clean that up. And we removed over 2,400 pounds of trash. We continued that every weekend for the next 8 months. Over a year and a half, we removed over 250,000 pounds of trash from the greater Shelton area. Those were abandoned homeless camps, illegal dump sites, condemned properties that were just completely trashed front and back. And we changed neighborhoods. We made certain rural areas really accessible again to the public so that you can walk without having to worry about stepping on drug needles and broken glass. You know, there are real opportunities here in Mason County, and I'm focused on bringing those opportunities to life, and I'm focused on the real problems that exist here. I'm focused on the fact that 65% of Mason County workers, which are Mason County residents who work, have to go outside of Mason County in order to work. That means, you know, less time at home applying for better jobs, higher paying jobs, spending time helping their kids with their homework, less time to spend with their partner, you know, just being a good partner. You know, these are real problems. Too many kids who at 18, 19, 20 years old don't see any other option than to have to leave Mason County in order to get a good job or go to, you know, get the schooling that they want, to get the job that they want later on, or to be able to start a business later on. We need to take care of these things. I'm focused on these problems. I understand what these problems are. I've been in the community. I know what resources we already have available. And I've been very effective at connecting the resources that we have available to make those resources more efficient and more effective. And I've also been able to connect the people with those resources and make sure that this entire system is working so we can finally really move Mason County forward. I would greatly appreciate your vote. Again, my name is Kevin Schmelzlen.
He is running for Mason County Commission, and it is, again, Kevin Schmelzlen. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.